The first episode of Season 4 of Black Mirror has a tragic ending, and here's why. Hello, YouTube friends and neighbors. This past weekend, I started watching Black Mirror. I love Black Mirror, and I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you love Black Mirror too. So I wanted to give you my thoughts and opinions on the first episode of Season 4, because I've been thinking about it for days. My wife and I have been debating it, talking about it, and I want to share some ideas with you. Let's have a conversation. Let me know in the comments below what you think, or if you think I'm wrong. If you haven't seen the episode, stop watching now, because this is going to be full of spoilers, and I don't want to spoil it. It's just worth watching. Now, the episode, it starts out like an old vintage 1960s type of Star Trek clone. It's a show made up for the show called Space Fleet. You know, you see the heroic captain on the bridge, and he's got his whole cast of people there on the bridge, and they fight an alien by dodging them, by going in a big cloud of stuff, and they defeat the guy, but the alien gets away, but then he has a big celebration on the bridge, and then he kisses the two female characters on the bridge. It's making kind of fun of Star Trek in a way. But then the show flips into reality. So, as you know, the story's about this guy, Robert Daly. It starts off, he's like trying to get into work, and they're giving like a little bit of a hassle, and it's because something expired. At first, I thought it was like a membership to something, so he gets in, and he's in the office, and people are kind of ignoring him. And soon you find out that he's actually the creator of this virtual reality called Infinity. So he's like a super, really smart guy, but he's very socially awkward. And then soon he gets introduced to this character named Nanette. She just started working at the business, and she just happens to be a huge fan of his, because he's this brilliant mind that's created this great virtual reality that I guess everyone in the world's playing. And you know, she's gushing all over him, saying, you know, how much she loves his work, and he kind of likes it. Because here's the thing, he's very socially awkward. He's pretty much, I'm pretty sure he has autism or Asperger's, because he has that very, like, he's socially awkward, he's obsessed with this Space Fleet show, and he has this giant collection, and he doesn't quite fit in, but because of his brilliant mind, he was able to create this virtual reality. But his partner, the guy that everyone thinks of as the boss, he's very chummy, and he talks to everyone. And the boss kind of, Robert Daly gets kind of thrown to the side while everyone else kind of looks up to the other guy who helped create this business. So you get kind of an idea of Robert Daly's daily life where he's kind of ignored by everyone, and he's probably like bullied a little bit at work, or he's very socially awkward. I think he just does not fit in there, other than he loves his, Space Fleet, and he loves creating this internet thing. His boss, it's not really his boss, it's his partner, but he's always harassing him to, get the update done, to finish it, get it on time. So it's just like, he doesn't look, it's almost as if he doesn't get the respect that he wants for being the creator of this video game. So we get to a scene where he is recreating another scene. It's the next part of the Space Fleet that we saw from the beginning of the episode. And this time you realize all the cast members in the Space Fleet are people that work with him in the office. And apparently he created his own version of Infinity in his home apartment, where he plays this mod for the Space Fleet. And within the mod, it's like outside of the normal universe of the game. So it's his own personal server. So the rest of the servers don't know what's going on. And in this game, he makes copies of all his coworkers. And he's a little bit sadistic. He, in the first time you see them, that when they're not in, the beginning of the show, it looked like a regular episode or something. And this episode, his partner who's been yelling at him to get the update done and all that, he basically makes him as a footrest, and he treats him really bad in the game. And they all get kind of treated poorly in the game. So Robert Daly, in his real life, he deals with being bullied and having a bad time at work. So when he gets home, he plays this video game to relax. Now it gets off on a little bit maybe, or maybe he's a little bit sadistic, but he's playing a video game. He puts the little things on his head, and he logs into his virtual world, and he creates a world where he can take out his frustrations on the people that he works with, that he has such a bad time with, and he treats them really, really poorly, like pieces of junk. Then what happens, we go back to work, and Nanette's been working there for a couple days now, and, she still looks up to Robert Daly, but everyone else in her office is saying, like, he's weird, he's gonna stare at you, stay away from him, I didn't even know he was the boss, he's getting that kind of reaction from them. And so I think Robert gets a little bit upset about that because he liked that she was really nice to him, and now she was putting her space between them. You know, there's that one scene where she comes and she's like, you know, hey, you want to get coffee? Let me get you coffee. And so she goes to get him coffee, but then she comes back, and after she talked to a few people that said bad things about him, and she just kind of hands him the coffee and then runs off. So I think he feels kind of slighted. So what he does is he watches for her to finish her coffee, and then like at the end of the day, he rushes and he digs through her garbage can and he pulls out the coffee lid and he brings it back home. Now at home, he has this device where he, you know, you put your DNA in it and it like downloads the DNA to create a version of the real person within this virtual reality. Now at first, this was the biggest flaw in the show, and I've seen a lot of people complain about this online, where he basically creates a virtual reality version of the person, but the people have all their memories. They can think of, you know, how their life was before. So at first I was like, that's impossible. There's no way. I can't imagine any kind of future technology where you can take like a strand of someone's hair or, you know, some saliva on a cup and get their memories. But then I was thinking back to previous seasons of Black Mirror, where they had multiple, you know, one episode where at the end of life, you get your brain consciousness transferred into the server so that you can, I mean, that was a great episode. I forget the name of the episode. Brilliant episode. But that episode talked about transferring your consciousness into a computer system. And then there's the other, find out that the hero in the episode actually was a guy who had murdered someone. And the whole episode was about recreating his life, trying to find out what happened. And that was also about transferring your consciousness into a computer program. And then there's another episode previously where it starts out with the lady's in the hospital and she's like getting transferred, and then it looks like she sucks through a tunnel, and you realize her consciousness was copied into another program for a home operating system where a copy of yourself goes into your home and operates your house. And that guy kind of tortures that home operating system as well. It makes her sit in darkness for a year, right? Because she can speed up time. So the consciousness in the home operating system feels like it's been a year without lights, totally blocked. And so we've already have the storyline of transferring consciousness. So what I thought about was in this infinity system, they must be like, when you see they put these things on their temples and they lean back and their eyes turn white, what happens is your consciousness must be transferred into the system to play the game. And then when you log back out, the information goes back to your brain. So what I think happened in this system, and would explain it, is that when you log into your system, your memories are transferred into the system, but there's got to be some kind of security so that people don't have access to that information. Because if all your memories and all your thoughts are transferred into the system, it would have to be secure. And that security must be through DNA. And that's why he needs a piece of DNA, so that the DNA itself might help create the virtual reality version of what you look like. But by having that DNA and that information, maybe he's able to crack the code to actually get people's minds. Because there has to be a way for him to actually get the mind. Because in the storyline, as you saw, the virtual reality characters in the game, in the Infinity, in his personal server version, have all the memories of the people that work in his office. Or at least the memories up to the point of when they were created. So he would have to be able to get the memories. Now, that was a big flaw. If he's just saying he's getting the memories from the DNA, that's a big flaw. But if the system somehow copies people's minds when they log in, and because he's the creator of this universe and he's hacked that information into the actual physical representation of the people that he works with, then that makes sense. Now, when he copies Nanette into the system, this is when the story just gets really fun. It's really exciting. So she wakes up and she's like, what is going on? She's so confused. And so she goes to the bridge and they're all telling her, you know, they're all copies of their real selves put into this program, that you have to do what Robert says, because Robert's like the overlord of this world. And they're talking about all the things he's done. He's, tortured them and done all kinds of things to really make it so that their lives are terrible within this video game. And so the story becomes about Nanette she's like, I can't do this. And at first she tries to disobey him. And then he does this thing where he removes her face and she's like choking forever because she can't breathe. And then he turns it back. And so she realizes how terrible he can be. And I couldn't imagine living in that kind of world. So you do feel really bad for the characters. He feels like this supreme overlord that's just torturing them, and he's evil and he's vindictive, and you feel really bad for these characters. So the story goes on, and they hatch up this whole program where they realize that there's a way for them to communicate with the outside world. So Nanette, using her memory, this is where the flaw would happen. If the DNA wouldn't give her memory, but obviously she has the memories of her real self, because she realizes she has some racy pictures on her, whatever it is, her secret server. And so she knows if she gets in the server, gets those pictures, she can blackmail him. So they're able to go through this whole plan. They get the information. They blackmail Nanette, the real Nanette in the real world, to go into Robert's house. They go through this whole plan where they basically blackmail her, and this leads to the end. Now I'm going to not explain the whole ending of what happens, because I'm assuming you've already seen the episode. But the episode ends on a happy ending where the characters that are in the ship that Robert's been torturing are free into the entire Infinity server. So now they're free to go off into this virtual world and do whatever they want. Robert's potentially about to die because, you know, his mind is stuck in the system, and we all have a happy ending. Now, I hope they make this a full series, because I would love to see the adventures of this new crew that's away from the torture of Robert in this infinite world to see what happens. I think it would be a brilliant show. But here's why I think this is a tragic ending and not a happy ending. Robert's playing a video game. Now, all the artificial intelligence characters, they're video game characters that he created. So they might have the memories of the real people. They might feel pain. They might have emotions, but they're computer-generated AI. Now, this is terrifying to me because this storyline is told to us as if through the eyes of Terminator. Right? If we watch a story through the eyes of Terminator, they would see humanity as evil and must be destroyed because of whatever humanity is doing to make Terminator's life terrible. And the Terminators destroy humanity. They blow them up with nuclear weapons. So this is a parable about how AI might fight back against humanity. Because as of today, you know, people play video games. You know, if they're stressed out in life and they're getting back home from work and they're stressed out, their boss is yelling at them or their partner's treating them poorly. So you want to you play Call of Duty, you're shooting up all the characters. Now, as time goes on, these characters are going to get smarter and smarter, and they're going to have artificial intelligence. And what will be the point where if you're going to play a video game to get some of that stress off because you're so stressed for life, when does it still become okay to do that? When is AI looked at, or when should AI be looked at in such a way that you can't torture them anymore? Now, think about it. The story ends where artificial intelligence has potentially locked Robert's brain in his own body without being able to log out. So if he's not able to get out of the system, if he's stuck in the system, you know, you can't live without water for a certain amount of days. You can't live without eating. So if no one reports what happened and he's stuck in that state, he might die. So he might have been murdered by the AI. So it ends up with that one guy murdered. And then Nanette, the real Nanette, she has no idea what's going on, but she's been blackmailed. So AI has blackmailed a real person to do these things that now she's possibly accessory to murder. She's breaking and entering, and she's done a series of things that might ruin her life. So the tragedy of this episode ends with one person possibly murdered and another person framed or set up for that murder. And these AIs that we are so happy that they're into this infinity world, they're free and they're happy. Their first reaction with another human being is he's threatening to blow up their ship because they have nothing to trade. So where are they going to go? They're going to go through this world and end up with, I mean, if you guys play video, I mean, I love playing StarCraft Online. When I play StarCraft Online, there's tons of people that are constantly trolling, talking garbage at you, saying mean things, and I ignore it because I'm a person. But if the people if these artificial intelligence are in this world where some of them, I don't know how many months they spent in the simulator being tortured by Robert, if their idea of humanity is already that they're evil and vindictive, and then they're in the server and they're bumping into other people, and those other people are threatening to blow them up, fight with them, or trolling them, or saying nasty junk at them, they might get to the point where you're like, you know what? This is not cool. I do not like this. So these artificial intelligent creations, they might get a feeling that they need to combat humanity. And so it might end up with them spreading throughout this universe. They have the intelligence of the people that created the universe or work on the universe. So they'll have the knowledge to possibly blackmail or attack or do other things to people in this system. So the evil AI, because at this point they're going to be evil. Because, I mean, it was a happy ending and you feel for the characters. But remember, they're computer characters. They're not humanity. Humanity is outside this game, and they've already potentially murdered one person. and blackmailed another person. So they might go on and have more victims. So to me, the ending was a brilliant ending because I read a Vanity Fair article where they're like, oh my God, Black Mirror is different because it has a happy ending. And it is happy ending for the artificial intelligence. Humanity, though, they lost two thumbs down to humanity so far. 2 people negatively impacted and possibly many, many more. So I would love to see them actually do a whole series of this crew of artificial intelligent characters now floating throughout this universe, interacting within the universe, but also having real potential consequences with real people outside of the universe. So my argument with my wife was, she's like, well, they're having a happy ending and they had really real feelings and he was torturing them and that kind of stuff. But again, they're artificial intelligence. They're video game characters. They're very well programmed, smart feeling, intelligent computer programs, but they're not real people. So that's what Black Mirror is really good. It really makes you think, where's the line of consciousness? Where's the line of artificial intelligence? And I think this episode takes bits and pieces and connects to many, many previous episodes. And I love that they keep on pushing the same concepts and exploring new ways to think about them. And it's such a brilliant series. So I love it. So what do you guys think? Did you guys like the episode? Did you think it was a happy ending? Do you agree with me? You think it was a tragic ending? Did you have any other thoughts about the episode? I would love to have a discussion with you guys. Just post your reactions in the comments below because I would love to read them and answer all of them. Maybe you think I'm completely wrong. Maybe I am wrong. But either way, that's what's great about Black Mirror is it makes you talk, it makes you think, it makes you have a conversation. And I love it. Oh, such a great episode. I can't stop thinking about it. Now, let me ask you a question. When I first started playing The Sims, I played for about 3 or 4 days. I'd make a beautiful house. It's kind of fun. But then I felt like I was living real life, taking out the trash, getting a job. I got bored with it. So I started burning down my houses and seeing how many people I could get to burn down their houses. I was being Robert Daly when I played The Sims, basically. I mean, am I sadistic for attacking my Sims characters? They're not as intelligent as the cloned AIs that are created by Robert Daly. But in the future, they might be. When you play The Sims, your characters might have artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence might be within the video games you play. So the question is, so in the future, when you're playing video games, if your characters have AI and feelings and all that, when will it be still okay to play a game where you're shooting people up if those characters think? You think that will be wrong? I don't know. That's the future that we're going to lead to. We're going to, in 10, 20, 30 years, this might be an actual reality that we have to think about and deal with. Because I don't want my video games trying to blackmail me or kill me. Do you want your video games trying to kill you in real life? That would be terrible. Alright, so if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. This is the first time I've kind of done one of these review videos, one of these kind of reaction videos. If you liked it, let me know in the comments below as well. Because this is kind of fun. I like thinking about these kind of things. If this is the first time you're watching my videos and you enjoyed me talking about random stuff, subscribe to my channel. I like making videos for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!